Right, so there is A and B. Quickly have a look and ask if you've got any questions. You will see that at 1A, what I did is I first changed that mixed number to an improper fraction, and then I made all my denominators 8. Once they all have a denominator of 8, then I could go and add them, and that gave me 23 over 8. Or if you wanted, you could have said 2 and 7 over 8. Okay, then at B, this division sign must firstly be changed to a multiplication sign. And when I do that, it means that these two have got to swap around. So it becomes 3 over 1. And then we can see whether we can cancel out. But in this case, nothing could cancel out. So then we multiply all my numerators. 9 times 3 gives me 27, times 3 gives me 81. And at the bottom, 7 times 4 times 1 gave me 28. Okay, don't forget about that minus in front of the fraction. Any questions there? Can I skip? Yeah. The 2 times the 4, 2 times that 4 gave me 8, and then plus the 3. Okay. Can I skip? Who says no? Okay, quick. Right. Okay, there's number C. Okay, remember that to the power of 3 applies to everything inside the bracket. So that's why in my next step I say 2 to the power 3 over 3 to the power 3. Now if I simplified that, 2 to the power 3 gave me the 8, and the 3 to the power 3 gave me the 27. Now my denominators are 27 and 2. I first got to make them the same, and the smallest common denominator, or the lowest common denominator, would be 54. So over here I had to multiply with 2, which means I've got to do the same at the top, and 8 times 2 gave me that 16. Then this one I had to multiply with 27 to get to 54, which means I've got to do the same at the top, and that's how I get to 27 over 54. Now that my denominators are the same, I can only look at numerators, and 16 minus 27 will give me minus 11 over 54. Okay. Can I skip? Hands up, we're still copying. Great. Okay. There is D, and then 2A. I'll give you a second to first mark, and then I'll... Right, any questions at D? Okay, Then 2a, I wanted you to see that they all have an unknown of x. Do you see that? Which means that they are like terms. So I am allowed to go and add and subtract. So before I could do that, I had to look at my denominators. Now my denominators are 5, 3, and 3 again. So that's why I made my lowest common denominator the 15. Okay, so 12 over 15x plus 5 over 15x minus 1 and 10 over 15x. And now you can use your calculator to work that one out. So 12 over 15 plus 5 over 15 gives me 17 over 15 minus 1 and 10 over 15 will give you minus 8 over 15. And have a look, my unknown still stays x. Remember yesterday we said 10 bananas minus 8 bananas will give me 2 bananas. No? Same thing. Great. Right, can I skip? Hands up, you're still copying. You say me, man. Okay, B. What I did here is that x I just placed at the top. So 9x over 8 times 4 over 1. Now you could cancel out saying 4 will go in once and 4 will go in twice. And that's how I get to the 9x times 1 gives me 9x. And 2 times 1 gives me 2. You guys good with that? Right. Yeah. Yes, that's also fine. 4.5x. No. Yeah. Okay, then at C, I had to multiply. Now, a quarter times 8 over 3. Remember, you could have written the x and the y at the top. I don't know, some kids keep it like this. It depends on what you prefer. So 1 over 4 times 8 over 3. Let's just look at those numbers. People put the phones away and focus. Nee, ek weet, ek praat met agter jou. Hulle tweeetjies is daar besig met strooi. Right, so I could have cancelled out saying that 4 will go in once and 4 will go in twice. So look at the top, 1 times 2 gives me that 2, and at the bottom, 1 times 3 gives me 3. And then xy times xy gives me x squared, y squared. Okay, you saw? What are you busy with? What are you busy with? Can I skip? Ek gaan afvat. Right, there's D and E. Have a look. At D, first thing we had to do is change the division to a multiplication sign, which means that these two swap around. So I now have 6 over 4. Then I could cancel out. 2 will go in there 2 times, and 2 will go in there 3 times. And 5x times 3 gave me the 15x, and 2 times 4 gave me the 8. Any questions at D? Okay, then at E, please remember that this to the power 3 applies to the half and to the x. So a half to the power 3 will give me 1 over 8. And then x to the power 3 will become x to the power 3. Okay, now I want you to see that they both have an unknown of x to the power 3. So they like terms. Right? And 1 over 8 plus 3 over 8 will give me 4 over 8 x to the power 3. And that can be simplified to a half x to the power 3. Can I skip? Huh? Yeah. Can I skip? Okay, F. So square root of 4 over 9 will be 2 over 3. And then square root of x squared. Remember that that's square root and the square are opposites of each other. So that's why I only have the x left. Right, then cube root of 27 will be 3. Now, what I want you to see is that they both have an unknown of x. So now they like terms. So I can say 2/3 x plus 3x will give me 3 and 2/3 x. Or if you maybe wrote it as an improper fraction, you would have had 11 over 3 x. Okay. Right, then G. At G, you will see that we had multiplication and subtraction. But according to BODMAS, what's more important? The multiplication. So that's why I put these blue brackets around, showing that this part I've got to do first. Okay. Now, before I can multiply, I wrote them as improper fractions. And 1 and 3 over 5, that will become 8 over 5. And you'll see that I wrote the xy at the top. Hey. Times. This x I just wrote at the top, so that's how I got to 2x over 3. Any questions there? Yeah? What other x? It's plus. Remember, 2/3 bananas plus 3 bananas will give me 3 and 2/3 bananas. The unknown or the variable only changes when we multiply or divide. Okay, when we add or subtract, it stays the same. Right, so over here, could we cancel out anything? No. So then all I had to do is go multiply. So 8xy times 2x gave me 16x squared y. Look, 16x squared y. And then at the bottom, the 5 times the 3 gave me this 15. Okay, now you'll see that they both have the variable x squared y. So they are like terms. So 16 over 5 minus a quarter. You would first have to make the denominators the same, but I didn't have space left here. You'd make your denominator 60, right? And that means that you'd have 49 over 60. Look at the variable, stays the same, x squared y. No. Okay, can I skip? Anyone still copying here? No one. Okay, right now, H. The division sign changes to multiplication. Now we could cancel out. 4 will go into itself once. 4 will go in there 4 times. But this 4 will cancel out with that 4. Now, 3 will go into itself once. 3 will go in there 27 times. But 3 will go in once and 3 will go in here 9 times. So have a look at the top. 1 times 9 gives me the 9. And at the bottom it's 1 times 1 times 1. So that's why I just have 9. Right? And then x times x to the power 3 will give me x to the power of 4. Any questions there? Right, now I've got 4 examples that I want to show you guys, and then you can start with your homework. Okay, so we're now doing solving of equations. Now, last year you guys also did this, so a lot of it will be revision. No? Main thing that I want you to remember is when we move something to the other side of the equal sign, it becomes the opposite. So if it was plus 3, it will become minus 3. Let's say it was divided by 2, then it becomes times 2. Okay, so over here, and you'll see with the homework, they say solve x. So your main goal is to get x alone, right? Because I've got to have x is equal to something. So got to get x alone. So what do I have to move away here? That plus a half, I want to move over. So then it becomes x is equal to 2 minus a half. People, please have a look at how I write it. I rewrite that whole thing. The only thing that's different is this plus a half. I move to that side, so it becomes minus a half. Okay? Because your steps are very important here. You are allowed to use a calculator. But that means that you've got to show me your steps. Okay, now 2 minus a half, we don't worry about making the denominators the same, none of that. We use our calculator. So x will be 3 over 2. Okay. Or 1.5, yes. Okay, the next one. 5 over 4x is equal to 1. Now, 5 over 4x is actually 5 over 4 times x. So if I want to have x alone, it means this 5 over 4, I'll move over. And what does it then become? Divided. Listen. It's a fraction. It was 5 over 4 times x. Have a look. There's actually a little multiplication sign in between them. So if I take that over, it will become 1 divided by 5 over 4. And again, we use our calculator for that. So that will give me 4 over 5. Will you see where? You must have a look at what's going on the board. Are you tired or not feeling well? Not feeling well. Not feeling well. Okay, can I skip? No. To write what? Yeah. Good. Hands up who's copying. Kazi, sit down. Who, me? No, this is the grade 10 book. Yeah. What, grade 10? No, it's just a step up from grade 9. Can I skip? Okay, right. Next one. Have a look. 2 and 1 over 7x is equal to a third x plus 38. Now, last year, I made my kids write down a few steps. So, maybe on the side of your book, on the right-hand side of your page, write down the following steps. Step 1. Take unknowns to the left. And normal numbers to the right. Okay, so step 1, you should have take unknowns to the left and normal numbers to the right. Has everyone got that? Okay, step 2, coefficient. Right, step 3, exponent. Okay, and then just above step 1, because that's not always something that we need. It's just in case we get it. Just above step 1, say get rid of brackets. So if there's brackets, you first got to multiply that in. Okay, right, can we do? So step 1 says unknowns to the left, which means that, can you see this unknown is already on the left-hand side of my equation? Okay, so that one, and you'll see I'm not just circling the x, the third is most attached to the x, no? So that's one thing. So a third x, that must move to the other side, no? And if we move it over, what will it then become? Minus, I'm not just moving the third, I'm moving the third and the x. Okay, so that will become a minus, no? So you're going to have 2�7th x minus a third x is equal to 38. Now, before we can go to step 2, we first have to simplify what we've got on the left-hand side. Can you see they both have an unknown of x? So we are allowed to go and subtract, no? Now, we don't need to make denominators the same, we use our calculator. So take your calculator and say 2�7th minus a third. But look at what I wrote in yellow. Please remember about the shift button when we have mixed numbers, no? So first shift and then your fraction button, then you fill in 2 and 1/7, and then we say minus a third. I can't put in the x's, no? So we just work with a coefficient. Okay, so how much do you guys get?
38/21.
Okay, so 38/21, x is equal to 38. Does everyone understand that?
Yes.
Okay, now what does our step 2 say? Coefficient, which means that I've got to get rid of this by taking it to the other side. If I take it over, what will it become? Divided. No. Because what's written in between here? At times. So if I take it over, I'll have x is equal to 38 divided by 38/21. Who doesn't understand up until there? You guys good? Right. Now again, put that into your calculator. Don't try and do it on your own, hey? Yeah. Huh?
It's 121.
That's 38/21 times x. So when I get, this is the coefficient, right? So that's actually times 38/21. Yeah. You must know. So when I have a number and an unknown next to each other, you must know that we're actually multiplying them.
So it's the first time you get it.
Yes. Okay. So are you good? Are you fine now? Right. So how much do you guys get? So x will be 21. Over here, I just showed. Listen. Over here, I just showed what you would do if you did not have a calculator. But don't even write it down. You don't have to stress about that. You're going to use your calculator. Right? So you can skip from here to there. Okay. Right. Last one. Is anyone still copying here? Okay. Huh? Jy bly eet, Christopher. En jy dink ek sien dit nie. Jy's ewe net so met die toehandjie. Maar ek sien. Can I skip? Kasi are you done? Kom meneer, skryf. Okay. Laaste enetjie. Have a look. Okay. 2 bracket x plus 3/5 equal to 4. Okay. Have a look at your steps. What do we... Daar sy dankie. We first got to get rid of the brackets. And how do I do that? How do I get rid? Daar sy. I'm going to multiply that 2 into my bracket. So you're going to have 2x plus 6 over 5 is equal to 4. Okay. What does step 1 tell me? Unknown. Okay, so this unknown is already on the left-hand side. So it stays there. Normal numbers to the right, which means that this plus 6 over 5 must move over. And if it moves over, it becomes minus 6 over 5. No? I do not know what this is over here. Okay, then 4 minus 6 over 5 is going to give me 14 over 5. We use our calculator for that, no? Okay, now what's my next step?
You have to divide.
Step 2 says the coefficient. So this times 2, I'm going to move over and it becomes divided by 2. There we go. And then 14 over 5 divided by 2 is going to give me how much? You just did it on the calculator. We'll feel.
14 over 5 is equals divided to. It's 7 over 5.
Good. We'll give you 7 over 5. Remember, you guys are going to skip from here to there. Okay? Any questions? Yeah. The teacher. Right. Yes. Yeah. Okay. Any other? Yeah. No, it's 2. Let me show it on the next page. It's actually 2 over 1 times, what was it? 3 over? 3 over 5. And 2 times 3 gives me 6. And 1 times 5, 5. 5. Use calculator, no? Okay. Right, people. So, is anyone still copying the previous slide? Okay. I'll skip back just now. Just write down your homework is exercise 3.3. That's on page 33, number 1 up until 10. Now, I see you guys again last period. No? So, you can actually use your time and do the homework in last period. That's only if you guys are nice and quiet. Otherwise, if we make a noise, I carry on and you get 3.4 as well. Okay? Right. That is then it for the day.